Hello, my name is Peter Dowling, and this is the third topic for the project of license extension for aging nuclear power plants. We've already heard from Mr. Atkinson regarding regulations and Mr. Becker regarding guidance. Following my presentation will be Mr. Rye discussing the safety and environmental concerns. All three of my teammates' discussions will be touched on during my presentation of the application process, and you may use the chart supplied with the Moodle post as a visual assistance. However, it will not be followed block by block. To start, the application process for license extension is very long and involved. As discussed by Mr. Becker, before submission even happens, an applicant should have analyzed the management for aging effects in sufficient detail to conclude that the plant can be operated safely during the period of extended operation. The renewal application is the principal document in which the applicant provides the information needed to the NRC, Nuclear Regulatory Committee, to provide their ability to continue operation. The license renewal process is a two-part process with a safety review and an environmental review. You can see that on the chart where the two items split. Once the renewal process is started, both of these sub-processes continue in parallel. The safety review is predominantly run through the guidance of 10 CFR 54, while the environmental review is through 10 CFR 51. With the safety review, the license renewal application must contain technical information and evaluations about the different types of plant aging that may be encountered during the extended operation. This information must be sufficiently detailed to permit the NRC staff to determine whether the effects of aging will be managed such that the plant can operate during the period of extended operation without undue risk to health and public safety. In addition to its mission for protecting public health and safety, the NRC is charged with the protection of the environment and the use of nuclear materials. Each license renewal applicant must include a supplement to the environmental report that contains an analysis of the plant's impact on the environment if allowed to continue beyond the initial license. The initial plant applications are approved for 40 years. A nuclear plant licensee may apply to the NRC to renew its license as early as 20 years before expiration of its current license. All license extensions are for 20 years. There is no limit on how late a licensee may apply for license renewal. However, if the licensee submits a sufficient renewal application for the NRC's review at least 5 years before expiration of its current license, and the agency is still reviewing the application at the end of the 5 years, the plant can continue to operate until the NRC completes its review. If a sufficient application had not been submitted within or prior to 5 years of their current license, then the plant may have to cease operation until the renewal decision is made. There are various milestones which exist through the application process. Some of these milestones have firm dates for the application submission, where others will be determined as the process goes on. Major licensing milestones within the first 6 months are submitting the renewal application, publishing a notice for opportunity of hearing, conducting public hearings on license renewal process and scope of environmental impact, giving the public and the NRC a chance to pose environmental questions, and giving the public and NRC a chance to pose safety questions. In the next year, the applicant will have to issue a draft environmental impact statement for comment and conduct public meetings on the draft environmental impact statement. They'll issue a safety evaluation report identifying open items, and then a final evaluation impact statement. And lastly, they'll issue a safety evaluation report. The rest of the application process timeframe is dependent on how many questions and issues the previous submissions received. The last major milestones are completing the advisory committee on reactor safety review and making the decision on the application. If no hearing was necessary, this concludes the application process. If a hearing was necessary, then you have to complete the hearing process before you make the decision about the application. Inspections, responses to safety environmental questions, and the hearings can be the largest contributors to the extended length of the renewal process for a given plant. Additionally, license renewal schedules are flexible on the NRC side and may need to be extended due to the availability of staff resources, the number of current and projected applications, the complexity of the particular review, the applicant's timeliness in responding to requests and questions for additional information, and the coordination of the timing for on-site audits and inspections. Of the 73 applications the NRC has currently approved, the average time from submission to extension approval is just under 2 years at 23.6 months, with only 4 application reviews exceeding 32 months at 38, 54, 62, and 72 months respectively for the last 4. Public participation is an important part of the license renewal process. There are several opportunities for members of the public to question how aging will be managed during the period of extended operation. Information provided by the licensee is made available to the public in a variety of ways. Shortly after the NRC renews or receives a renewal application, a public meeting is normally held near the nuclear power plant to provide the public information about the license renewal process and opportunities for the public involvement, as well as soliciting input on the scope of the NRC's environmental review. Additional public meetings are held by the NRC during the review of the renewal application, and NRC evaluations, findings, and recommendations are published when completed. As already stated, the application is a very lengthy and exhaustive process in and of itself, and so far the NRC has not denied any application submitted. The NRC has clearly defined guidelines and requirements for license renewal, and the nuclear industry has the experience of many successful license renewal requests. It may seem strange that the applications to date have all been approved. However, because of the cost and commitment associated with the application, it is unlikely that an applicant would intentionally submit an application for license renewal that was so flawed that the NRC staff would issue a denial. Furthermore, if problems with systems, structures, or components of the facility were identified during the review, the applicant would likely be able to make the additional modifications or put in place a mitigation plan that would be acceptable to the NRC. Identified problems with structures, systems, or components could be addressed immediately, and any necessary changes be made under the current operating license rather than waiting for the period of extended operation. Each application must contain the following information: an integrated plan assessment, IPA, a current licensing basis, CLB, and the evaluation for time limiting aging analysis, as well as a final safety analysis report, or FSAR. The IPA must identify and list the structures and components subject to an aging management review, describe and justify the methods for aging management, and demonstrate that the effects of aging will be adequately managed. The CLB changes during NRC review for the application. Each year during or following submittal of the license renewal application, and at least 3 months before scheduled completion of the NRC review, an amendment to the renewal application must be submitted that identifies any changes to the CLB of the facility that materially affects the contents of the license renewal application, including the FSAR. The FSAR supplement for the facility must contain a summary description of the programs and activities for managing the effects of aging and the evaluation of time-limiting aging analysis for the period of extended operation. We are now going to talk more about the environmental and safety impacts given by Louis Rye.